Hey, everybody. Welcome to Centered the Podcast. I'm your host, Leslie Braverman, and I'm sharing holistic content that reconnects you to your most centered self, that place within you that is energized, knowing, and uplifted despite the chaos and demands of life. I offer this perspective from my background as a scientist, a movement specialist, a yogi, and a mom with over 20 years of guiding clients on their transformational journeys from healing back pain to up-leveling capacity. Because once you're centered, you become the portal of possibility. I want to get into this concept of being the portal of possibility a little bit more today, and we're going to do this through the lens of energy and specifically energy command. So just let's establish a little bit about energy to begin with so that we're all on the same page. Not all of us enjoyed physics as much as I did at school, but I'll do what I can to make it simple and quick. So the concept of energy is that it makes it hard, right? Is that we can't see it. And we've been trained, so many of us have been trained to only believe what we can see, right? That evidence-based approach. So what we have instead with energy is measurements, and we can measure energy in frequency. We have high frequencies and low frequencies, and these are based on how quickly the cells vibrate. So one thing that's become really popular in our culture is to talk about vibe because we're all more energy aware as individuals now. We know that vibe or vibration of high versus low frequency impacts our experiences. So this is the concept behind the quantum experience, the quantum physics, is that our cells vibrate at different rates. And as they vibrate, they create oscillating patterns of electromagnetic waves. And these patterns of waves are influenced or originate as our perceptions, right? Our thoughts and our feelings. And we have these energetic waves that then expand outside of us into our biofield, also known as our energy field, and into a greater field known as the quantum field. And all of this energy connects and impacts each other and also can then feed back and impact our experiences. So let's take a look at these vibrational frequencies to start. So the idea that energy vibrates, right? And it vibrates based on its states can take us into this concept of a low frequency state versus a high frequency state. And low frequency state or low vibes are contractive states of energy. They're like arrogance and blame, control, defensiveness, expectations that haven't been met. So like disappointment, shame, and worry. These are just some of these ideas behind the frequencies that are low that are meant to be internal guidance as to something that we're experiencing that we don't prefer. It causes contraction in the body and are based on the fact that the cells are vibrating at a lower frequency than is your centered state, okay? Your calm state. Something has taken you out of that. And the contractive state you can feel. You might not prefer how it feels. It can feel like more of a fighting, defensive, or like rigid and controlling state. Okay. And then these higher frequency states are states of expansion. They're joy and pleasure, passion, excitement, and they can be even like a little bit more calm, like harmony and peace, compassion, serenity. These are states where the cells are vibrating in a way that makes you still feel expansive and good. And generally, they're states that we prefer. Okay, so this is basic energy awareness, right? Energy as emotions. And then what we know is that these emotions impact our vibrational field. Okay, so as we experience things and the cells vibrate and they create these oscillating patterns and they meet outward into our energy field and into the quantum field, they also impact others and what we attract as our experiences. So it's always like with like. So the more we are feeling expansive, the more expansive experiences we tend to have. When we have experiences that are more contractive or low frequency, these emotions and thoughts are serving as tools to guide us to understand what is causing that and steer more toward the higher frequency state that feels more aligned, more centered, and more pleasurable, right? So let's do an example because this stuff can feel like it requires a real mental flip in understanding experiences. So let's take a look at an example for I wrote a book and I'm super stoked about it. I poured a lot of energy into it and I started the process of getting it published. And this is a whole separate process. It's almost like writing another book, to write a book proposal and then to shop it around to various publishers and, wait the months back to hear. And thus far, it has not been picked up. And so I had to go through a flip where I was feeling disappointment and uncertainty, and I had some expectations that it would just happen. And then I needed to go in and just be aware that I was having them, accept them, and then transmute them into higher energies that would get me into a state of more possibility. Because when you're in a contracted state, the doors of possibility are more closed. And when you're in an expansive state, they're more open. And so I did this flip of like, okay, great. Well, I'm going to self-publish. We're very fortunate to live in an age where if a book publisher doesn't pick up our book, we can publish it ourselves. But it did require, that mental flip. Dr. Sue Morter calls it the quantum flip. And so it's the idea of your quantum potential is limitless. And as long as your state of vibration matches your request into the universe, right? What you want to happen, what you'd like to manifest, you can attract it. And so the idea of switching from a contractive state of like, hey, this is what I don't prefer, I don't want to feel this way, into a positive state where I am a portal possibility, that's exactly what I did. So I transmuted it, I changed it, I alchemized it and moved it into a higher place of first acceptance. Like, okay, it's not going to go the way I had intended, at least not now. And I'm going to do something else, take aligned action and do something else, be open to other opportunities. And so once I decided that, I started receiving like a barrage of opportunities to self-publish, right? And everything from like taking a course to doing it yourself to whatever. And it just required me to really change the way I was thinking about the experience. And in doing so, I was like, I need something more instant than this process of publishing. What can I do to start getting this into the world? I could write a blog post. I could start a podcast. Oh, wait a minute. I'm like super interested in starting a podcast. Why don't I do that? And so these last, 8 episodes are all parts of the book that have been repurposed into a podcast. And now I will still go and publish the book, but I just really wanted to share that as an example because we've used it for years. Like our grandmother's generation used to say making lemonade out of lemons. So I think there's always been a sense of energy awareness in our culture. We just have more language around it right now, and we have more measurable data. So as we move from a low frequency experience to a higher frequency experience, low vibe to high vibe, we are changing the neural pathways as well in the brain and changing the mind body connection. So it becomes a practice like building a muscle at the gym. This is like the energetic gym or the spiritual gym, where the more you do it, the faster the pathways or the routing of making it happen again occurs, so that you're building this muscle, you're building this pathway, and you're more likely to just more naturally step into these higher thought patterns rather than lower thought patterns, which can be very self-limiting. And the idea of then it connecting to a greater quantum field of infinite potential, it is a quantum law of physics, of the law of attraction or the law of resonance, really is two things resonating at the same vibration or frequency are attracted to each other. And so more possibilities along that frequency will come in. And this is quantum physics. This is how it works. So whether you are interested in it or not, what you can be thinking about is tools to feel better. And I'm always about people feeling better, right? This is what I do. We want to feel better in life and have more energy. And this is literally working with the thoughts and the emotions as energy to have better feelings and more energy. And that's one of the things that I love about it. And it can become a game. So it's a game. Again, Sue Morter calls this the quantum flip, the idea of taking your power of energy awareness, of understanding an emotion that you're having that you don't prefer, and flipping it into an emotion that you do prefer by changing your mindset or your perception. That's really powerful. Now, the other thing that happens, and I'll go into this more in the book, is this will also lead to some very deep healing. And so as stuff happens that can be bigger than what seems possible in a quantum flip, what's happening is you're identifying stored energy within the body, old patterns, go-to patterns that you've had for a really, really long time. And when you feel that resistance to the flip, go into the body. Always go into the core, right into the core. Find where it is in the core. Find where you might feel a temperature difference. You might feel, I was just doing a healing workshop this past weekend where I could feel in my abdomen, I could feel cold versus everywhere else that had a different temperature. And that's when I knew I really found it. And you can feel in the body where your like instant rigidity is. Sometimes it's in the shoulders, sometimes it's in the gut, sometimes it's, a contraction in the heart space. And you can place your hand on it. And this is really empowering yourself and the loop of personal empowerment, taking your hands and really just accepting what you're feeling. It all really starts with acceptance. So if you want to alchemize something or really change it, acceptance is the first. I'm doing it right now. So accepting what you're feeling and then noticing if through that acknowledgement and acceptance, if there is a softening. And if there is, great, you've got it. If there isn't, and again, I'll go into this in the book more, you can take this into your heart and you can do it by literally taking your hands and scooping invisible air, right? But with intention into the heart space. And the heart is way bigger than this muscle that we call the heart. It's your portal possibility. It is the energetic heart is the kind of the seat of your electromagnetic field. And it can alchemize anything. Think of it like a giant fire, like a big bonfire. And taking your hand and scooping whatever resistance, let's use the resistance as an example. Maybe I felt resistance in my belly, like a hardening. Scoop it up, bring it to the heart, and it'll just start to melt, soften, and dissolve when it does that. And it's a deep inner connection, knowing that you shifted an energy that was a lower frequency that you didn't prefer to feel, a go-to energy, something that had been stored, into something higher at the heart space. And then you can call in or think with intention about a higher frequency state you'd rather like to feel. And it can be challenging to really go super high. Like if I'm going from resistance to excitement, it might not take. The body might say, I can't go that high that fast, but you can definitely go into peace. I feel much more peaceful having moved that resistance from my belly into the alchemizing power of my heart. And I can sense, feel, and imagine in the body more peace. And this is really what we're doing here, right? This is the power. This is where we don't give our power away to lower frequency states. We take it back, we reclaim it with this flip and with this alchemy. And I love doing this work because it is, no one needs to do it with you. I mean, you can always call a friend to help, of course. Sometimes you need that extra power. But it's something that if you pause and really own the power of the pause and just sit with what's happening rather than bypassing it and just work, it's bypassing can be a thing too, right? It can sometimes when we're doing these flips, these mental flips, you're bypassing a feeling too. So just starting to play with this. This is not something that is going to ever not be a tool, right? Once you start working with this as a tool, it becomes even more powerful because, again, it's like going to the gym. You're building muscle, you're building pathways, and you get to go deeper and deeper the more you use it. So maybe it starts as just a simple flip of perception, and then it starts going into the body. You can start going into the body within saying, okay, where are these old go-to energies stored? And how can I now play, right, with excitement, high energy, to alchemize them? And so back to the idea of the book, I'm so excited now to be doing a podcast and a book. Like, how cool is that? I never would have thought of that had it not happened that way. So, and what else do I want to say about that? I think that's about it, really. I think that I was about to say more, but I think we want to do that in a separate episode. So let's stick with this. Tell me how it goes. Practice this idea of alchemy through the body and this idea of flipping the mindset and see what possibilities start to come in. Because again, all possibilities exist in the quantum field. And as you tap into the quantum field in these higher vibrational states, you are able to resonate and attract more possibilities, more creativity, more conscious awareness, and then more opportunity to do stuff you probably didn't even think of, right? So it's the idea of limitlessness through being more centered. And if that episode resonated with you and you'd like to go deeper into your healing journey, check out my newly released book, Centered: The Art of Living from Within, now available on Amazon. Or head over to centeredbyleslie.com to schedule a no-cost strategy session for wellness coaching, Ayurvedic therapies and herbal consults, back pain healing, and yoga. I'm looking forward to working with you.